Hello and welcome to Long Winding Road, a podcast created to inspire you to embrace your unique path. I'm your guide, Stephanie, a multi-passionate mystic, medium, spiritual teacher, and everyday human. My journey has had a lot of twists and turns, non-linear as they say, and learning to embrace that and share my most authentic self with the world has been a long road of self-discovery, inner alchemy, and acceptance. In this space, I'll share personal insight, channeled guidance, as well as tools, techniques, and tips to help you navigate your own journey. So if you have a curious mind, enjoy all things spirituality, and are ready to remember the magic already inside of you, then you're in the right place. Let's begin. For a lot of my life, I felt lost. I felt shame and embarrassment for not knowing what I wanted or for where I was in my life. My path looked very different than anyone around me, and so I felt like I was wrong, that somehow I made a mistake, or rather lots of mistakes. I didn't have the easiest life. I had a lot of trauma and extreme circumstances that were very painful, and truth be told, they felt more like nightmares rather than gifts. I've since realized that they are gifts, but people would ask me, well, how did you end up here? Because usually where I was so far away from where I began. And I take a deep breath and I say, well, my life was very long and winding. There was so much to the story that I couldn't possibly share, and I didn't want to share. So I tried to generalize it as much as possible, but when I did that, it felt like I was minimizing my experience, and that also didn't feel good. I created my business and now this podcast based on my own journey of self-discovery and acceptance. There was a point in my life that I began searching for meaning to my experience. I felt like there had to be more to the story than what had happened. When I was 21, I was misdiagnosed with mental illness, and I was on medication for 20 years. And during that time, I experienced intense medical gaslighting, and that really warped my sense of self and reality. Now, that wasn't the only experience that made me doubt myself or that created that shift in my reality, but it certainly cemented it, I could say. And when I was correctly diagnosed those 20 years later with Lyme disease, my life was completely derailed. I woke up in a sense with emotions of a 21-year-old in a 41-year-old body, and it was surreal. It was kind of like that 21-year-old in the body of a perimenopausal woman. And I woke up in a life that was not aligned. I didn't recognize myself or anything around me. I had a house, I had a job, and I was like, what? Why would I even have this job? But, it all made sense in the end. And when I first woke up, I had such severe panic attacks because I wasn't sure if what I felt and what I experienced was real or if it was illusion. And I'd cry to the only person that I knew. I'd call my mom crying, and God bless her soul, because she was my biggest support through all of it. But I had to have her talk me down over, like what you feel is real. And somehow I got through it. Somehow, right? Because I'm here where I am today. But I had to allow myself the space to find equilibrium again. And that was a battle. It led me down an even darker path at times of self-discovery, healing, and facing myself. But on the journey, I found my voice and I started to use it. And trust me, most of you know that. But when you're a people pleaser and you always say yes, when you're more quiet and meek, the moment that you start to say no or demand things like equality or set boundaries, people don't like it. I lost a lot of friends and colleagues along the way. I had been in the pharmaceutical industry. Yep, that's a whole nother story. But I learned how to ask for equal pay. I had to demand that I was paid for the work that I was doing, which was huge. I also had to stand up to retaliation and to bullying that I experienced. And I did that. And, as difficult as that was, it was huge that I feel so much pride that I was able to do that. And I also lost a lot of friends that I had for my entire life pretty much because I created boundaries and they didn't respect that. But the truth was that they weren't aligned anyway, and they probably should have fallen out of my life before that. I love the relationship that we had, and I will always love them and value that. But we're on very different paths, and that's okay. Not everybody is meant to stay in our lives forever. And as I discovered who I truly was, I learned that about what I love. I reignited my passion again and left my old life behind to follow my dreams. I'm still on a path of self-discovery, and I'm still finding my footing. I'm still navigating my life unscripted, and it's messy and it's uncomfortable. It may seem like I am lost at times, and there are days where I'm like, wait, did I take a wrong turn again? But I have this feeling inside of me that I know where I'm headed, and I really am happy. I wouldn't trade who or where I am for the world. And I continue to trust and allow and embrace this wild and long winding path, even though sometimes I get angry about it. I left my corporate job at the end of 2021 to start my own business, and that was very challenging. I kept trying to fit myself into a neat little box to define who I am and what I do to make it palatable and understanding for people. But the more that I do that, the less aligned and authentic I feel. I have a lot of passions and I have a lot of experience. I studied and practiced a lot of metaphysical and healing modalities. I work with both animals and humans. I'm an artist, and when I'd narrow that down and I'd pick something to announce my offer, it quickly didn't feel right, and I'd change my mind, and then I'd feel that shame and embarrassment again. I'd feel like a flake because it didn't feel good. And over time, I stopped sharing because I was like, well, nobody is going to want to follow me because I keep changing my mind. And so I held back and I stopped sharing. I started hiding, and that's not right either, because I do have a gift like so many other people. And I'm still figuring that out. And that's okay, because this path of self-discovery, this path of who we are, is not linear. At least mine isn't. So I continue to come back again to that original intention of why I wanted to start helping people, why I wanted to be of service. And it was based on my own journey of really seeing and understanding who I am. And I dedicated this year to the year of authenticity, because energetically, that's what I feel like. When I connect into the energy and what I channel through is that authenticity to show up in all areas of life exactly as I am, to share my truth, to share the messiness, because I'm not perfect. I am messy. My life is messy and it can feel super chaotic, but I know that I'm genuine and I know that my heart is true. And I want people to understand more about themselves and to understand that this is okay, that as long as we show up, that's all that's important. As long as we take one step at a time, that's all that's important. And to continue to understand that these things that hold us back, these limiting beliefs, they're not us. They don't define us. It's just a story from our past. And we can keep following our dreams, even if it takes a little bit longer than what our ego mind wants. If I listened to that, I don't know. I'd probably not be anywhere because my mind wanted to have it all figured out a long time ago. I always wanted to be an artist, and I'm not a practicing artist. Yes, I do art on the side, and I'd love to eventually share my art, but that's not where I am, and that's okay. But I have this opportunity to do whatever I want to do because it's my life, and I'm really proud that I live that instead of allowing my demons or these fears to prevent me from doing that. And, recently, as I sat down to try to put together somewhat of a cohesive plan for this podcast, I realized that maybe I'm not a flake after all, that all of my passions, all of the things that I know and have studied, all the channel material, all the concepts create a lot of material to share with this world. It's like pages of topics. And then there's so many subtopics within those that I could talk forever. Not that you want to hear me talk forever, but I have a lot to share with my community and to those who are meant to receive the medicine that I offer through my unique voice. And, it made me cry because it all started to make sense. And I've had these realizations so many times, but here I am again that, no matter how uncomfortable it is to share, I need to show up and I need to speak into a microphone. And I'm going to keep pushing myself because I truly feel so much excitement inside of me. And I promise I will not let the fear hold me back. And so I invite you to join me here each weekish because I'm not going to commit to showing up every single week because it might not happen, but that is my intention. And I want to help you learn more what it looks like to embrace a unique path and to inspire you with the wisdom that I share. And if you enjoy all things spirituality, personal development, inner work, growth, etc., then you found the right place. And I also would like to invite some other individuals who have had the same, not the same, obviously, have had twisting paths, but ultimately followed their heart and are living an authentically aligned life because that is the inspiration that I crave. So thank you for sharing this space with me today, and I will see you next time. Thank you for listening. I am so excited and passionate about this podcast, and I am grateful that I get to share it with you. If you enjoyed what you heard, please subscribe, rate, and review because it means so much to me. And if you know someone who is ready to embrace their unique path, please share to help grow this community. I'm also interested in what you have to say. If you have any suggestions or topics for an upcoming episode, please leave a voice message using the link in the show notes. I look forward to continuing this journey with each of you. Until next time.